You guys, what is good? Welcome back on the Uncle Sharma channel. Happy Easter to all who are celebrating around the world. And we are back finally from this international break. It was a pretty boring one. Outside of the Acerbi drama, that's what kind of kept the media and I guess Inter fans interested in some sort of way. Italy kept us interested, myself, but not too much. It was, friendlies are just friendlies at the end of the day. We won Serie A back. Serie A was back yesterday. Milan won against Fiorentina. So they reduced the gap down to 11 points on us. Oh no, what are we going to do? I mean, it's still at that stage now where I'm not particularly worried, but obviously, calma. let's not bottle this one, please. Please do not bottle this one. But we should be pretty comfortable there. Juventus now look like they're just dropping off. I mean, Allegri's mind games all those few weeks ago, and then since we beat them, we literally seem like we destroyed them. They've been on an awful run since that defeat against us, and they need to actually watch out from Bologna and Roma now, rather than look at us. But anyway, Inter versus Empoli is the topic of today's game. But before we get into that, let's talk about the Acerbi thing. Finally, it's done and dusted out of the way. The Acerbi, Juan Jesus, racism, allegations. And as we kind of expected, he was clearly, he did say something to Juan Jesus because on camera, the lip reading, I could tell like he was apologizing to Juan Jesus or something, but there is no proof, there is no evidence of what Acerbi said to Juan Jesus. So at the end of the day, it was Acerbi's word against Juan Jesus's word. And at the end, the Italian decision makers could not punish Acerbi. And that's how it should be. I mean, if there's no evidence, what are they going to do? I saw some Inter fans in our Uncle Sharma Discord group chat discussing this. Some people say, this they were expecting or wanted more of a punishment, but I ask you, if you do disagree with this punishment, what can you do when there isn't any? Like, are you going to punish him just because to make a statement out of this without any proof or evidence is very, very difficult, very, very difficult. And but the thing is, Acerbi just doesn't help himself with his Italian boomer ways. His his statements he keeps coming out. His PR team, I don't know, well, clearly doesn't have a PR team, but he needs to get one because they need to just shut him up because he just keeps digging a hole for himself. This was his statement the other day released. I'm not a racist. My idol was George Weah. If we go further down the Sempre Inter translated article, I am sad and sorry we all lost in this ugly row. When I was acquitted, I saw people around me react as if I had been released after 10 years in prison. Very happy to come out of this situation. Those were very difficult days. And then further on, sentence was liberation. Sad at how we ended up on the pitch and how everyone attacked me without knowing anything. This is the one. I have never been racist. My idol was George Weah. He was one of the first to call me when they discovered the tumor. So if you don't know, Acerbi had a tumor cancer that he beat, I think twice actually. Now that the verdict is out, I would like to give my opinion. I have absolutely nothing against JJ. I'm sorry for him too, but you can't call a person a racist for a misunderstood word in the heat of the game. And you can't continue to do so even after I've been acquitted. People were humiliating me and even insulting my family. That's always, over the line, the tribalism of football. For something that happened up on the pitch and in which racism had nothing to do with. Unfortunately, racism is a serious thing, not an alleged insult. This is not a fight against racism. And he says, the illness I faced was a walk in the park compared to this affair. I wasn't afraid at the time. Instead, the atrocious fury I've seen towards myself in recent days hurt me. I did so much to remove the label I had when I was younger and become an example of perseverance and professionalism, and I risked losing everything in an instant. Everyone had already issued their verdict before it came out, and for many, I'm still a racist. Which is kind of true. I mean, now, even for me, like, not that I see him as a bad person, but I see him in a different light, now. I'm not saying that he should be punished, but I just definitely see, Acerbi in a different light now, especially since before, as I said, he was actually an inspirational character before in terms of his beating cancer twice. He's even had one of his testicles, I believe, chopped off. So, the fact that he came back from that very, inspirational, and the way he came to Inter as well, he was kind of, out of favor at Lazio. He was booed and, not very rated when we signed him as well. I thought he was just going to be like a nice Ranocchia replacement, but he ended up being so much more, and also a leader for Italy as well, for the Italian national team. So, yeah, but I'm glad now that we can put this to bed, to rest. It is what it is. And now go back to him leading the back line from tomorrow against Empoli, which I think he will be starting. Who might not be starting is Jan Sommer, who got injured in the international break. So there was a few injury concerns in the international break. One was De Vrij, who got injured for the Netherlands, and the other one was Jan Sommer, who got injured against Denmark, twisted his ankle. Actually, I had the exact same injury as Jan Sommer. I was playing football just over a week ago, and my ankle literally did that 90-degree bend exactly as the Jan Sommer did against Denmark. My one actually had mine crack, and it was like swollen like this. So I think Sommer just probably was slightly less serious, because it looks like he's already made his way back to training. There is no question Sommer is getting ready to start on Monday. He's back in training, preparing with a view to be available against Empoli. However, that doesn't mean he's necessarily going to start. Inzaghi doesn't want to rush him back before he's fully ready. So we'll see. Audero might have to step in, which I'm not too sad about. He's a serviceable Serie A level goalkeeper, Audero. But obviously, we want Jan to return, and of course, I also want him to try to get to that clean sheet record if possible as well before the end of the season. That would be amazing. And then another quick news before we get into the predicted lineups. Supercoppa once again confirmed next year, the same format, the 4-team format, where it comes, the winner of Serie A, the Coppa Italia finalists, that same kind of mini tournament, Serie A winners, runners up, and both finalists from Coppa Italia. So they've continued that, which is not great news, to be honest, as much as it brings a little bit of extra money. But with the next year, with that new Club World Cup coming in, with the fixture list already being so busy, it's not looking good. But I guess money talks. And then ultimately now, let's get into the preview for tomorrow's game, Inter versus Empoli. 8:45 Italian time kickoff, 7:45 for me. Go back, guys. No more international break. Time to watch some Limone Ball. Time to watch some Demone Ball, however you want to call it. Sommer, according to Sky Sport Italia, is going to start tomorrow with Pavard Acerbi back in, with Bastoni, strongest, I think, back line that we have. With Dumfries ahead of Darmian, Barella, Hakan, Mkhitaryan, and Di Marco. Again, that's my strongest 5 midfield. And then Martinez and Thuram up front. So, yeah, in theory, what is our strongest lineup tomorrow, which is good to see. Hopefully Mkhitaryan has rested nicely over the last 2 weeks, because obviously Inzaghi is going to use him every single game for every single minute. In terms of injuries, we have De Vrij out, as we said. Quadrado's out. Sensi's, I saw him in training, but apparently he's still out. And Arnautovic still recovering. But apart from that, strong bench, strong starting 11. Enough to beat this Empoli team. Let's have a quick look at Empoli's team. Any players to watch out? They've had, the new coach effect over the last couple of months since Davide Nicola has come in. The guy that did the miracle recovery with Salernitana. So we shouldn't take Empoli lightly, because Davide Nicola and his teams are known to do some miracles sometimes, but they are just above the relegation zone, above Frosinone, but I think just on goal difference really. So they are fighting for their life. It's not going to be easy, and they're a bit more solid now under Nicola compared to Andrea Zoli. But they did give us a tough game last time around. We went to their home, if you guys remember, only 1-0, and it was a Di Marco amazing volley that was required to beat them. Now they play a different formation, more of a 3-4-3 or 3-4-2-1, however you want to call it. Now Kovalenko's actually going to play as a wing back. I think it should be Kakache, the New Zealand boy. He'll be playing left wing back. This is incorrect from Sky Sport. But players to watch: Caprile, he's a good goalkeeper, young up and coming Italian goalkeeper. Zurkowski is a good goal scoring midfielder, Polish boy. Razvan Marin always has a good shot from distance. And then Bayern Yang, some guys might remember him, part of the Milan Banter era. Some guys compare him to Leao, or they say Leao is the new Niang when Leao has those brain fart moments or bad moments of form. But he's been scoring a lot for them, but I think every single goal has been a penalty. But yeah, pretty average, below par team. Some interesting young players that now are not getting the chance, like Pazzini. Whereas of course they sold Baldanti, so he's not there anymore. But yeah, Empoli is one of those teams. I don't mind them. They usually play some young players, so I like to have them in Serie A because they're one of those Italian teams that do give young players more of a chance, but not as much anymore, clearly. But yeah, we should be beating them easily. I want to see Inter return with a strong statement to make sure that those doubts, there's no bottling doubts in the air. Doesn't matter what Milan do, doesn't matter what Juve do. We go on our mission, try to get those 100+ points and try to win the Scudetto against Milan in the derby, because Calabria said, he was interviewed, Milan's captain, he said, oh no, Inter not going to win the Scudetto against us, so that should be a bit of fuel for the boys. And yeah, in general, it'll just be extra sweet to win it against Milan. And yeah, Pioli actually spoke yesterday after the Fiorentina win, and he was like, they asked him about Inter, the gap between Inter and Milan. He said, they're only 14 points ahead of us because they took advantage when we dropped points against teams like Udinese, Cagliari, or maybe he mentioned these kind of like lower table teams. He said that's the difference between us and Inter. There's not that much of a gap. No shit, bro. That's exactly what football's all about. Winning games, 3 points. That's what makes a difference. Even if you think it's a small difference, that's what makes a difference. That's how Milan won their Scudetto against us a couple of years back, because we dropped points when we shouldn't have. But if we did this, if we did that, if talk, easy to say, easy to do. But yeah, my prediction for tomorrow, it's very, very strong lineup. I think we should beat this Empoli team at least by 2 goals. I'm going for at least a 2-0 or a 3-1 victory. I think Lautaro returns to scoring. He's been on a bit of a mini drought by his standards this year. I want to see a goal from Thuram, and I want to see a goal from Mkhitaryan. Mkhitaryan hasn't scored for a while. I want a nice refreshed Mkhitaryan on the pitch to be scoring. But yeah, and I hope to see maybe a bit Buchanan, poor guy. You guys let me know in the comments down below what you make of the Acerbi thing. Inter Empoli tomorrow, lineup wise, what you would do. What do you make of Milan, Juve? Any worries about the Scudetto run? Let me know in the comments down below. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Ciao ragazzi, always, Forza Inter.